The drama surrounding Naoya Inoue has never been about noise, bravado, or theatrics. It has always lived in the quiet certainty of a man who knows exactly who he is and what he does to people once the bell rings. Long before fists are thrown, before the lights flare and the crowd roars, there is always someone on the other side trying to convince the world that they are different, that they are dangerous in a way Inoue has never seen, that they are unhinged, fearless, wired wrong enough to do what others couldn't. They arrive talking like villains in a movie, eyes wide, posture stiff, convinced that madness alone can close the gap between belief and reality. Naoya Inoue listens to none of it. He doesn't argue. He doesn't posture. He doesn't try to outsell his opponent. He simply waits. Because time and again, history has shown that when those legendary Japanese fists start flying, bravado has a very short lifespan. Trash talk turns into hesitation. Confidence leaks out with every clean shot. Resistance becomes survival, and survival quickly turns into surrender. These are the moments when self-proclaimed psychopaths collide with the monster and learn, often violently, that there are levels to this game they never understood. By May of 2024, Inoue walked into the Tokyo Dome not just as a champion, but as the undisputed ruler of the super bantamweight division. For world titles wrapped around his waist reflected the overhead lights like cold proof of years, spent dismantling elite fighters with frightening efficiency. Those belts were not ornaments. They were receipts. Evidence of a career built on precision, discipline, and an almost surgical approach to destruction. The expectation was domination, as always. But what unfolded that night became something far more dramatic than another routine defense. Across the ring stood Luis Pantera Neri, a volatile Mexican southpaw with explosive power and a reputation for chaos. Neri didn't arrive quietly. He arrived convinced that Inoue was overrated, convinced that he possessed a kind of violence the monster had never dealt with before. He spoke openly about wanting to be the man who exposed Inoue, who proved that beneath the aura and the accolades was someone vulnerable to real madness. It was elite versus elite on paper, but emotionally it felt like certainty colliding with desperation. From the opening bell, tension filled the air. Inoue advanced with his usual calm, measured steps, eyes locked, posture balanced. Neri met him without fear, firing early, refusing to retreat. And then, in a moment that sent shockwaves through the boxing world, the unthinkable happened. A sharp sequence, a subtle opening, and suddenly, Naoya Inoue was on the canvas. A first-round knockdown. The Tokyo Dome gasped. For the first time in a long time, doubt crept into the conversation. Neri had done what so many before him could not. He had found a crack. He capitalized on a brief lapse, a dropped hand, a fundamental error that almost never appears in Inoue's game. For a fleeting moment, the narrative shifted. The monster had been hurt. The psychopath had drawn blood. And for fighters like Neri, those moments are oxygen. They fuel belief. They feed recklessness. They convince a man that destiny is finally leaning his way. But boxing has a cruel way of punishing premature confidence. As the first round closed, Inoue rose with no panic in his eyes. No urgency. No desperation. Only adjustment. The knockdown didn't rattle him. It informed him. By the second round, the monster had already recalibrated. And what followed was a masterclass in mid-fight evolution that separated a great fighter from a generational one. Inoue began slicing through Neri's guard with terrifying intelligence. His timing sharpened. His footwork subtly shifted. Every step backward was calculated, every counter delivered with venom. Neri, emboldened moments earlier, now found himself walking into traps he didn't even see being set. A perfectly placed left hook sent him crashing to the canvas. The momentum violently ripped from his hands. The crowd erupted, not in relief, but in recognition. This was the real Naoya Inoue. From that point forward, the fight slowed down for the champion in a way only elite fighters understand. Inoue began anticipating Neri's attacks, stepping just far enough out of range to make him miss, then punishing him for the attempt. Each counter landed cleaner than the last. Each exchange tilted further in Inoue's favor. Neri, now chasing redemption, started overcommitting, searching desperately for another miracle shot that never came. Round by round, Inoue's dominance grew heavier. His combinations snapped with a sound that echoed through the dome, a distinct rhythm that seasoned observers recognized as something ominous. He attacked the body with purpose, remembering that Neri's only prior defeat had come from sustained punishment downstairs. The monster wasn't just trying to win. He was dismantling a belief system, stripping away the illusion that raw aggression could overwhelm elite technique. By the fourth and fifth rounds, Neri was trapped in a cycle of hope and punishment. Every time he stepped forward, he paid for it. Inoue controlled distance with his jab, exploited poor positioning, and consistently won the battle of lead foot dominance. The right hand found its home again and again, a consequence of Neri drifting into danger without answers. The bravado was gone now, replaced by survival instincts and grim determination. Then came the moment that sealed everything. A calm exchange on the inside, a subtle dip of the shoulders, and a short, devastating uppercut followed by a crushing right hand. Neri's knees buckled. His body betrayed him before his mind could process what had happened. He collapsed to the canvas in total surrender, the monster standing over him, expression unchanged. It wasn't rage. It wasn't celebration. It was inevitability. The finish wasn't just violent, it was instructional. A reminder that power alone doesn't make a demon in the ring. Precision does. Balance does. Discipline does. Inoue didn't just beat Luis Neri. He absorbed the best moment of Neri's career and then erased him. Another self-proclaimed psychopath had entered the ring believing he was different, only to leave knowing he wasn't. Yet this victory was not an ending. It was another chapter in a story that refuses to slow down. Inoue's career has been defined by moments like this, handing fighters their first real taste of helplessness, exposing gaps they didn't know existed. And as the monster continued his march through the division, the next test loomed with a very different kind of danger. When Naoya Inoue faced Marlon Akhmadaliev the following year, the energy was different. This wasn't chaos versus control. This was intelligence versus intelligence. Akhmadaliev arrived not as a loud villain, but as a hardened technician, an Olympic medalist with belief rooted in preparation rather than bravado. He didn't care about hype, he cared about execution. And that made him dangerous in a way few others were. The opening rounds were tight and measured. Both men probed, tested reactions, searched for tells. Inoue worked behind a disciplined jab, slipping punches and placing shots with intent. Akhmadaliev stayed patient, looking to counter, waiting for the monster to overreach. It was a chess match, played at full speed, and the crowd sensed it. The shift came quietly. A heavy right hand landed flush, and though Akhmadaliev smiled it off, the message was unmistakable. Inoue was warming up. His tempo increased. His confidence grew. The challenger had moments, brief flashes of success that drew murmurs from the audience. But every time he found a rhythm, Inoue disrupted it with footwork, angles, and timing that felt almost unfair. As the rounds progressed, Inoue showed why he is more than just a knockout artist. He controlled the pace like a conductor, choosing when to engage and when to disengage. He denied Akhmadaliev the mistakes he needed to capitalize on. Even when briefly trapped on the ropes, Inoue responded with compact body shots that forced a reset, reestablishing the hierarchy in brutal fashion. By the championship rounds, the story was clear. Akhmadaliev needed something dramatic, something extraordinary. But extraordinary moments require openings, and Inoue simply does not give them. He glided around the ring, peppering his opponent with clean shots while absorbing almost nothing in return. The frustration on Akhmadaliev's face said everything. The puzzle was unsolvable. When the final bell rang, there was no controversy, no debate. Naoya Inoue had delivered another flawless exhibition of elite boxing, not through chaos, but through control. At 32 years old, he had nearly wiped out an entire division, leaving behind a trail of broken confidence and rewritten expectations. Now, only one shadow looms large. Gunto Nakatani, another Japanese star. Another pound-for-pound force. A clash that feels inevitable, seismic, and deeply symbolic. If it happens, it won't just be the biggest fight in Japan. It will be a global event, a collision of greatness that could define an era. Until then, Naoya Inoue stands alone, supreme, feared, unbothered by the noise. Psychopaths will continue to line up, convinced they are different, convinced they carry something special into the ring. And one by one, the monster will continue to show them the truth. So now the question falls to you. Is Naoya Inoue already one of the greatest fighters the sport has ever seen? Or does his defining chapter still lie ahead? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you want more deep, story-driven breakdowns of boxing's most elite fighters and unforgettable nights, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss what's next.